Hi, and welcome to the Divinely Inspired Woman podcast. I am your host, Patricia Hopkins. I am a modern mystic, and I am here to share with you the beautiful wisdom and stories from women that desire to lead their lives inspired by the divine within them. The divinely inspired woman is devoted to walking the path of her soul's calling, tuning into the divinity within to navigate life with ease and grace through all circumstances. She cultivates beauty in her daily life. She is here to share the most authentic self each day through thick and thin. So I hope you enjoy our show today and that you will leave with an infusion of inspiration for your soul and for your day and living your life. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Divinely Inspired Woman podcast. My name is Patricia Hopkins, and I am your host. And I am very delighted to have this special guest today, ChrystinaBox, with us. I've been learning a lot more about her today as we prepared to come on live with you all. And she is an amazing woman, and I'm very grateful to be sitting here with her today. So welcome, Chrystina.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I am very honored to be a part of this. It's so beautiful. Thank you for asking me to be on this.
Oh, my pleasure. And let me just tell you a little bit about Chrystina. She is a single mother of a lovely nonverbal boy. And when she became pregnant with her child, you began to regain your voice and connect with lovely souls around the world, and using poetry and dance and flow singing to communicate how you feel and to help others get through life's ups and downs and help yourself as well. I've seen you, and I love your energy when I see you on social media and whatnot. So, you know, you and I met through Radha Publishing House. So I want to start there. And I just want to pull this book up here, Poems from the Heart, right? This was the project that you and I worked together on through Radha. And she's just one of those amazing people who encourages you to find your voice and to express yourself. And this was my first poetry book too. And I imagine it was yours as well, correct? Poetry. So tell me a little bit your story about your journey with poetry and this book. I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Well, again, I think that we all have our paths. And when I was trying to find something that would give me joy, I started singing and dancing and flow singing and dancing. And I had already connected with Radha through trying to become healthy. I would say that I was trying to become as healthy as I could to take care of my son. And it was when I was transitioning into basically doing everything, me, myself, and I. That's how it is right now with my son. And so I was like, okay, I need to find something that will raise my vibration. I had already been diving a little bit into the healing of energy healing. I was pretty new, I'd say a couple of years into this more spiritual path, where I studied crystals and how it like affected your chakras. And it was kind of like, what can I do with my son at home and bring joy to both of us? And also feel like I connect with the world, because as a solo mom, I drive my son everywhere to his services because, as you said, yes, he's nonverbal, autistic. And so he has services. He was delayed in certain things. And so he has speech, OT, I tried to do early intervention. My background actually is I am typically a behavioral therapist.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so like I
Wonderful.
have, yeah, my degree psychology, and
Mm-hmm.
originally I wanted to be a relationship counselor, relationship and family counselor.
Mm.
And yeah, that's why I went to school for it. But then life kind of throws things at you. And instead of going to get my master's, I started working with children with special needs. My mom had
Oh,
passed 2 months before with cancer, actually, with complications from radiation and chemo. Um,
oh, I'm
and
sorry.
she had lung cancer. She smoked like
Mm-hmm.
a chimney. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everywhere she was, like, there was smoke everywhere all the time because um, her health wasn't great. And I was trying to get my degree, and I thought that was the way you're supposed to do it: go to college, get a job,
Right.
you know?
Right. I understand.
And so, yeah, in fact, I had really huge student loan debt until it was forgiven. And I do think that was a gift from God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because one day I like woke up and I saw this message saying, your loans have been forgiven. And I was a solo mom and just became a solo mom. I was like, wait, what? I'm like, so I was like, thank you for that little
Wow.
miracle, God, because I was chosen to be forgiven on the student loans for my psychology degree. I was raised to always go to college and get a job.
Right.
So it was
Right.
like I got a scholarship. I had a presidential award to a college I didn't even want to go to, actually. But I ended up going. I transferred to
Mm-hmm.
another one I wanted to go to, but it was a whole big process of doing what I was told, you know.
Yeah.
Youngest
Yeah.
of a family of five. I know you're the youngest.
Yeah. Youngest of four.
Youngest of four.
Yeah.
Okay.
Youngest of four. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And
So,
so
yep.
you've had this journey of do you feel like this led you into seeking and becoming connected with Radha because of all this that had been going on in your life? And did that inspire you to write the poetry?
Yeah, because Radha dives deep,
She
she
does.
dives deep into things. And so when I read her, so when I connected with her, I was connecting through her, through another friend who owns an Axiom business. And they had just interviewed, and there was just something about Radha during the interview where she just wants to help people. She was like saying, she just wants the world to be a better place in the interview. And right from the start, you could see how big her heart was, and how empowering she was too about doing, not just saying it, but doing it.
Doing it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so during this interview, when they're talking about the Axiom product that actually helped me, molecular hydrogen that actually helped me heal from
Mm-hmm.
being very ill, years ago, that actually helped bring back my voice and my dancing, as it was basically just a domino effect. It was like, it brought it, being with Radha, it's hard not to bring back your memories and things that you've gone through, that you've kind of
Mm-hmm.
grown from, that's
Yeah.
empowered you.
Empowering
Um,
you. Mm-hmm.
your shadow selves, like her writing, like in
Mm-hmm.
her on her post are so powerful. Um, it inspires you to start like expressing yourself and just be who you are with your writing.
Totally.
um
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that's why I mention all of the past, because I just feel like it's part of the story of who
It,
we are. We have this book and it's part of our story, that brings us to certain people. We gravitate towards certain people because of certain
mm-hmm.
strengths that they exhibit. um
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and as a female, as a woman, I love the fact that she cheers other women on.
Yes.
you know you
Yes,
feel
she
it.
does.
It's authentic. And so when I thought about being a part of a book, I was like, well, it's a big step, and I actually don't really write a lot of poetry anymore. I had brain fog, because I years before I had long haul COVID.
Ah, right. Yes.
So I
Yes.
had really bad brain fog, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to get out of brain fog. And then start to really be inspired to do more writing, and then feel like you actually want to be heard.
Yeah.
because you start to doubt yourself. You're like, am I even making any sense? And then Radha comes along and says, do you really have to make sense? If it's talking to, if it's coming from your soul, that's
Right.
all that matters.
Right. It's all those old rules that we think we have to do things this way, right?
Yeah.
And it's more about speaking from the soul, from your heart, Poems from the Heart being that book. And I don't know about you, but I found it to be tremendously healing and almost clarifying for me, like about where I was at in my life and what was important to me, like what was coming through, the messages that came through for me in my poetry. How did you feel about it?
I think just being able to connect with people that had the courage to express themselves and
Mm-hmm.
really speak from the heart, because again, I'm a solo mom, I'm a hermit. And so, finding people out in the world, that you're aligning with or that are inspiring, it's just such a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful gift.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is a powerful book. A powerful group
Yeah.
of people within their voices, with Radha as the curator and, our wisdom keeper and guide for that journey. Um, and I just want to just really present how amazing it is, acknowledging what you have been through, like from the little bit that I've known you. Like it's really awesome to see you shining so
Mhm.
brightly, and I'm glad that you're better, that you moved through that illness that you had, and the challenges, and that you're showing up. So I just wanted to presence that, because it's not easy. I've been ill too, chronically ill, and it's a process to keep showing up and trusting that you're getting better, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know that you have a story about survival, and I would really love for you to share a bit more about that.
Well, I think that the long haul COVID really, I think COVID really put a lot of different perspectives in people's lives and mind,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of
Mm-hmm.
realized, well, a lot of people realized, not just me. I'm sure you can completely relate, but like I started asking myself, what is important? Like, this life is
Yes.
precious and beautiful. What makes me happy? And um what can I do to get healthier? What can I do? Like not just go to the doctors and say, hey, do you have an answer for me? Like, because as you know, the answers the doctors were giving us, with long haul COVID, it was like they didn't know. So then you were
Right.
like,
Right. It
you're
was
like,
totally new.
yeah. So it kind of just, it makes you kind of like step out of this like matrix that we kind of are, born in, and
Mm-hmm.
to think outside of the box and be like, oh my gosh, like I need to find out the answer, and I can't go to who I've been taught, trained, conditioned to go to, which is the
Conditioned.
doctors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's where, I mean, I already had feelings towards doctors at some, like I still was like, I still like, I still was going to the doctors because, I mean, when you're really struggling and you're trying to survive, and I had a 14-month-old at that time, and it was like I was like, where do I go? My
Right.
mom
That's
had
hard.
passed, during
Yeah.
college. I'm
Mhm.
not, my family's in Maine. I wasn't close. I actually was ending a marriage around the same
Mm,
time.
that's a lot.
Uh, yeah. So I was like, where do I go? So of course I went to the doctors, right? I went to the doctors, they gave me a medication, and they're like, this could work or this couldn't work. And I was like, okay. So I
Right.
was coughing really bad after a year or so. I had low oxygen level. I couldn't sing. I couldn't dance.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I did when I was pregnant, everything I did when my baby was born, that really like made me happy and felt like I was bonding with my child.
Mm.
I couldn't really do anymore.
Yeah.
And it was like, what do I do? So I decided that I had to find my own answers, and I also find that God helps you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
find the right people.
Yeah.
So that's another example of, how I found Radha, and then Radha connected me to you and other beautiful poets. It's like, as I said, I was really having a hard time. My husband was basically at the time, well, my ex-husband now, was like, okay, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You don't have COVID anymore. You're fine. Because long haul COVID. A lot of people are like, okay, COVID, okay, it's done. Like, like there's a
Right,
time when
right.
people are
Move on. And you're like,
like the
no.
symptoms aren't as bad anymore. Like you're cool. And meanwhile, I was actually going hours to a COVID clinic at a hospital specifically for
Wow.
post-COVID.
Wow.
And I also was enrolled in brain injury association because
Wow.
because they did tests on my brain,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a lot of brain fog, and there was a lot of things that were happening. My nerve system, my nerves, like my feet were really in pain.
Yes. Okay.
Um, were they in pain?
I had, I had, I ended up getting shingles, like like one after another, after, like, I just getting episodes. And so my
Yeah.
nerves all over my body were just,
Yeah.
and on my head, like it was all around my
Yes.
head and my neck. And I think it just finds the spots on you. But yeah, definitely heightened pain.
Yeah. Heightened
Hmm.
pain.
Hmm.
Not able to breathe.
Not able to breathe. That's so scary.
And that was hard. That was hard because when you like just living your life. I mean, I'm gonna be 43 very soon, and you're living your life, and my 40s, and I'm like, I can breathe, I can walk, I can, I did lose my hearing at age 30. So I was like realistic on the whole, you can lose your senses, but breathing was one thing that I
Yeah,
was like,
breathing.
wait a second, I'm not able to breathe, I'm not able to like dance, I'm keep losing my voice, I can't even sing.
So
It's like,
amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's so similar to my experience, and I really haven't talked to a whole lot of people about, but yeah, not being able to breathe, losing my voice constantly. It's crazy. Wow. This is very healing for me to hear that you experienced that. And so this axiom, was it the molecular hydrogen that really rejuvenated your body then?
it did. It did. I call it the miracle molecule. And
Mm.
I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. A lot of people come at me thinking that. And so they're all like, hey, I want to buy the product. I'm like, this is where you go. This is where you go. Hydrogen Warrior
Wow.
is
Hydrogen.
yeah, Hydrogen Warrior. If you Instagram that, you'll see it. But he actually is the owner of Axiom. He wanted to be transparent. He wanted people to have the truth about health. He tested all of these devices. He even tested the tablets. There's a
Wow.
lot of molecular hydrogen tablets out there, but he wanted the best. And let me tell you, he's given the best out, because my son, who is autistic nonverbal, when he started taking the tablets, he started to become more verbal. He's never
Wow.
sick, never sick. I'm never sick. So I went from like post COVID to like never sick. I mean,
Re
my doctor was like, I
Reborn
never
again.
see you. I'm like, I know you don't,
That's
you know?
awesome. That's
Um,
great.
but again, that's how I met Radha, like during that
Mm-hmm.
interview. So it's all about, just staying afloat. And when you stay afloat, God, kind of guides you towards the right
Mm,
people,
I
you
love that.
know?
Yeah.
And even if you have to go on your back and float, you know, I say go do it, because I know you
Just
understand
keeping
that.
above.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's why I love what you're doing with your podcast, because you're empowering like people to really speak about their story. And it's so interesting that you don't talk a lot about your COVID long haul, because again,
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
you were inspired when I started talking about it. But at the same time, it's like, it's because when people can't relate to you, it's hard to voice out what happened to us, especially with something as long haul COVID.
It's just not very well understood, unless you've been through it. Yeah, I have a brother who has it too. He's still struggling a bit with it. But that whole oxygen thing, right? I was a well, I still do run, but I was a marathon runner and a cyclist, and like
Oh,
I could barely walk.
yep.
I just wanted to sit down and like, I was like, this is so frustrating. That's my life. My life had to
You
change.
lose yourself
You lose
even
yourself.
more.
You lose, and then, but you find the essence of who you are though, right? Like, because a lot of that for me, it was healing because I was always so I'm quiet and introverted, but I was very physical and I still am, but like I was
Yeah.
always that's how I moved energy and I had to learn how to come into my core and experience myself in a completely different like in the stillness of who I am rather than the activity of who I am.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
it brought a healing to me on like a more holistic level of, so it was a spiritual experience for me. I mean, what would you say? Do you feel like it was a spiritual experience for you? It sounds like it connected you to a whole like group of new people that really nourished you in a different way.
Yeah. Again, I think we all have challenges in our stories and they have lessons, but they also have blessings.
Yes,
And
the blessings. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that that's what I really, I mean, I've always been kind of like a more positive like person,
I can
um,
tell. You have a
yeah.
nice energy.
But at the same time, it's like you get to a point where you really like there has to be gratitude in your life. You need to, if you feel down, like sometimes you just have to really get yourself back up. And I think that's what singing and dancing and poetry has really done. Whenever I have a triggered moment with my ex, it's like what do? I turn on the music and I start dancing. I don't dance. I've had people be like, again, Radha's really inspired this too, because, I've had people be like, well, how come you don't use like a microphone and how come you don't use like auto, all of these things that's available, which again are beautiful things to use because it creates art, and it's great.
Hmm.
You're expressing yourself, you have different notes. But for me, because I think the long haul COVID basically took away, almost like took away what I thought I would always have. Like I'm now
Hmm.
like really appreciative of the flow of life and also the
Mm.
flow of my voice and my dancing
The
because
quintessential.
mm-hmm, because you got to flow with it when you're like basically can't breathe. You're like, well, what can I do today that will help me?
It really allows you to let go of the complexity that we create, right? In life, like all of the things that we think that we have to have when we are all that we
That's
we
a
need to
perfect
have,
way of saying it. That is such a
right?
perfect way because sometimes like I will listen to a song and I don't even know the song really, or I'll listen to a song that I haven't heard for many years and just put it on once. But there's something about it that I sing it in my Instagram the way that it comes out. I honestly just let it flow out. It reminds me of like with an artist where you have like your hands on a sculpture and of
Hmm.
clay and you're not
Hmm.
thinking, you're just doing the same thing with my dancing. Like I'm not thinking about the move, the move, the move, the move. I'm literally letting the music and my body flow. So that's why when you watch my dancing, you probably be like, she literally is flowing. It's like I have a mix
Flowing,
of like
yeah.
hip hop and back in the 90s, like MC Hammer, all those kind of like that
I
kind of
love it.
dancing.
I've seen some of
Yeah.
yours. I love that. I love the flow. Yeah, that's how I am when I paint. I just paint. And
Yeah.
people are like, "What is it?" I don't.
I see your art. I
I'm in
noticed your
flow.
beautiful art. And it's
I'm in
abstract
flow.
too.
Right, it's abstract. Yeah, so I totally understand where you're coming from. I mean, I think we're both artists at heart, and the poetry was a beautiful like group expression, like of, coming together collectively to share a message of healing and love, to the world. And I'm very grateful for Radha, for curating that experience. And I wonder, is there a poem you want to share or anything else that you would like to offer to our community as part of your beautiful expression?
Well, if you want to check me out, go on my Instagram. I feel like the right souls are guided to click on certain links. And if you feel like that's you, I'd say go check it out. I am clicking on my cell phone and I sing to my cell phone. I dance to my cell phone. There's
I
nothing in
love it.
the, yeah, it's like, so and I think when it comes to the poetry, I'm amazed that you said this is your first poetry book because Radha basically just brought out an amazing poet that may not have been brought
Hmm.
out.
Oh,
And I think that's just an
thank
amazing,
you.
I really do think God and and I don't, different people have different beliefs, but I honestly think God, our spirit guides, they guide us to the right people. There's been an amazing
It's
domino
true.
effect.
It
I
is.
mean,
If you're open to going in the flow, right? You will align with what's
it,
best for you.
and being genuine too. Like the
Right.
more
Hmm.
genuine and authentic you are, that's when you're going to meet your people. It's like if you stay with a mask that a lot of people do just to try to make people happy, just
They
try
don't
to
really
like,
see you. Yeah.
they're not going to see you.
They're not
And the
going to see
right
you.
people are going to be somewhere else because they're looking for authentic people,
Right.
and it's not like we're seeking them out. They are guided to us, I
They
feel.
see, yeah, they feel it. They feel the light, they feel the vibrations. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. And so your Instagram, I will make sure that it's in the text, but
Yeah.
it's at Christina, um, so that's ChrysTinaBx, Christina Box.
Yes,
Yes.
and that is, and you'll see, I don't have a lot of people liking it. I have a handful of people liking it, and I still enjoy it, and I love the comments.
It's
Yeah,
all
I've
about
had,
expression, right? It's
yeah, and
yeah. Hmm.
there's like a part of me that's like, Christina, why don't you get more technical? And maybe one day I will. It's just right now I feel so much joy in just flowing with it.
I love
Like,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
your
very inspiring.
poems, yeah. Well, and that's another thing. It's like sometimes I like think to myself, do I want to do it again? Do I want to do it again? Do I want to do it again? And then I think to myself, it's not about perfection. It's about enjoying yourself.
Authenticity.
And
Yeah.
if I'm dancing and I'm really in the music to the point where, I mean, if my son's around, I definitely think where he is. Cause as a mom, I'm like,
Yeah.
my eyes are everywhere. You'll see my
Right.
son is a part of my music journey because he loves to sing and dance also.
Oh,
And he may not have the words right now because he's nonverbal, but he's
he's
really good at the
adorable.
drums. Um, so okay. The poem that I'd like to read is you wrote it. It's Patricia
Ah.
Wald Hopkins. And I read it, as beautiful as this poem is. Hopefully I read it just as beautiful.
It will come out beautifully in your essence. Yes.
Okay. Well, when I saw this poem, I kept reading it and then I wanted to
Hmm.
actually share it. So I actually recorded myself. So I'm probably going to post it at some point because
Oh, wow.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah, I was like, I
Wow.
gotta share this. And
Make
that's,
sure you tag me in it so that I can share your voice.
yeah, I just, the things that we were speaking about, like sharing your voice and yeah. Okay. So it goes, conversation with Gaia, awakening voices.
Mm.
My heart beats faster as I gasp for my air. One sound, a shriek, a full bodied yell. Freedom is in these sounds of a woman discovering her voice again. The anger in her belly rises as the sacred rage is released with each exhalation sound. The red hot truth is expressed, and it keeps women from ever falling silent.
Mm.
Gaia responds, I am in every sound you make, my sacred child. Made of me and through me, you are a sacred vessel of my voice, a unique expression of beauty and grace. Your voice is the water that runs through my rivers and streams into the deep
Mm.
blue sea. Your voice is the gentle whispers of the aspen leaves quaking on the mountainside. Your voice is the verdant green of the jungles and forest. Your voice is the sacred soil upon the desert's floor. I hear birds singing, the coyotes howling at the moon, the rain falling upon me. You are a precious reflection of me. Never forget you are meant to be free.
Hmm. Oh, I hadn't read that since I put it in the book. So it's so nice
No
to hear it
way.
through your voice. I'm like
It's
kind
so
of like that.
liberating. It's so
Oh,
beautiful.
I think there's a bit of that COVID experience, right? The gasping for air again and coming back to life and
Yeah, and
remembering.
being the youngest of a family of five who doesn't listen to you.
That's very true, right? The quiet
Yeah, I
voice in the
mean,
corner.
especially as a woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like being listened to and speaking your mind can be a challenge in our
Yeah.
society,
Well, we're
and
changing
then
that, right?
we are changing that. And that's why this was beautifully guided because, as I said, that marriage that was basically tumbling apart during long haul COVID. And he was like, "You're not giving me what I need, which is attention because you aren't, and I was like, I can't breathe, dude. And you're like telling me you want me to like keep on cleaning and
I'm to
cooking. And
take
I'm
care
like,
of me.
yeah,
Yeah.
like take care of me,
Yeah.
me. And I'm like, no one is taking care of me. So it's time for me to take
To
care of
take care
me
of me. And I'm so glad that you did that.
and my
We're
son.
all glad. We're all very grateful that you have stepped fully into your power and your voice and expressing it. And I'm really thankful and just delighted to have had this conversation with you. And getting to know you a little bit more has really been inspiring. So again, thank you for sharing your wisdom with the community. And if there's any last little pearl of wisdom you'd like to leave us with, that would be wonderful. And if not, that's also okay.
Well, I like to say that there's a lot to healing yourself. And it helps you because it inspires you to be your truest self,
Yes,
your highest self,
your
because you're
highest self.
happier, you're healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we had long haul COVID, it's not like we were like all giddy and happy and being like, I love my life, I love me, right? Like it's like
No,
we're like, I'm
there's none of
trying
that.
to like survive here. But once
Mm,
you grab onto your health, you eat healthier, you exercise, you find what works for you.
mm,
You do your passions because your passions, they fuel you, and
yeah.
then they connect you to people that fuel you, right? Like finding the people that are pouring into you rather than just draining you um, is a process, but it's a domino effect. Once you start to realize how important it is to be healthy, um, and you do it actively, like you said, you were active, like you run all the time and stuff like that. And I mean, you are beautiful. So it's like,
Oh,
inside and out, you're glowing. So it's like, I know that contributes, like you're doing what you love, but you're
you
active.
do.
And I do have one thing. If your brother or anybody is still having symptoms of long haul COVID, reach out and look into the molecular hydrogen.
Yeah, thank you for that. Certainly, everybody listen to that if you're
Yeah.
struggling. Yeah.
Yeah. My son takes it still, and he's never sick. And when he got sick the other day, something was going around. He had like a little cold, and I gave it to him. And like hours later, it was like, okay, cool. I'm like, you're all better now. So
Wow.
yeah, it's amazing because like my son is healthy and my son also has eating issues, like because he's it goes kind of in the combo of autism where he's
Okay.
very like, so he doesn't eat a lot. So when I give him that, I just feel so good because he's drinking something that is you know healing his body, like
Mm-hmm.
all the time. And I think that's what I'd like to say is like find something that you feel is healing your body, stick with it, keep doing it, don't care what anybody says, and do it. And just because
Love
it's your
yourself. Yeah.
life,
Mm-hmm.
your life.
Yeah. I really, I'll just, weave this in closing is that right now I'm doing the voices of Gaia in the lover archetype. And I really feel like
Mm,
this conversation has been about that act of deep like self-love, right? Where you
mm-hmm.
finally, you just take care of yourself. And from that place, you begin to blossom, into a whole new world of like nourishing relationships, and I know
Yeah.
your relationship like, I don't know if you're a relationship coach, but you could be. But do you know, like it's about like for me, it made me love myself enough
Mhm.
to do the things that I need to do every day to stay healthy. Sit in the sun or whatever it is.
There's an
So,
image that came in my mind is seeds.
mhm,
So like we're little seeds,
yeah,
especially for long haul COVID, we're like little seeds, right? And then as we got watered, and then we are getting bigger and bigger, and the sun, all natural, all
yep,
healing,
yep.
and we're just growing and we keep growing.
Just like that beautiful green background you have
Yeah.
there. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you again, Christina. And you all stay divinely inspired until next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Divinely Inspired Woman. Again, I'm your host, Patricia Wald Hopkins, and I am so glad that you joined us here today. I hope you left with some soul food to inspire your daily life. And if you would like to learn more about my work, please check out my website, patriciawaldhopkins.com, and you can find out more about my divinely inspired practice and tools. So, thank you again. Have a beautiful day. Hi. I'm dropping in here with an announcement about a program, a new mentorship that I am offering. It's called Voices of Gaia, and it's about bringing your voice, your leadership, your life in alignment with Gaia's guidance. So if you feel called to learn more about this program, it's a beautiful, rich program where we dive into your essence, and if you so desire, we develop your business around it and really blossom into your whole lifestyle, this wisdom from Gaia that wants to be spoken through you. So if you feel called, reach out to me at patricia@patriciawaldhopkins.com. That's patricia@patriciawaldhopkins.com. There's no hyphen between Wald and Hopkins. And I would just love to hear from you and see if this is a good fit. So thank you for tuning in. Have a beautiful day.